Hey guys, it's Crazy M, and today I'm here with an attachment guide for the AK-74M. And before we start, I want to say a few words about the AK-74M. When I played with it, I wasn't really quite fond of it. I didn't really like it, but I've seen some people mention it and they said it's pretty good. It has a good accuracy, good aiming down sights accuracy, and so I went along and decided to try it out myself. I played a little bit and then I looked at the stats on Synthic. And when I looked at it, I actually realized how um, pretty identical most of the assault rifles are in the aiming down sight accuracy. And as far as the accuracy goes, the AK-74 doesn't really stand out. But there are a few things that I quite like, and I'm gonna talk about them in the video. Anyhow, um, I think if a lot of you are gonna be familiar with the AEK, and as far as stats go, it's pretty similar to the AK, only that the AK got a higher fire rate, but actually the AK-74M got a little bit higher bullet velocity than the AEK, and the AEK got a little bit more side-to-side recoil. So I was surprised how identical those are, but still the AK-74M has a few sweet spots. So let's start and take a look at the bullet patterns. First off, as usual, we got the naked AK-74M. What we see here is that the hipfire is quite good in the first few bullets, but the recoil kicks in pretty bad. Same with the other two patterns. The first three bullets are quite alright, but then the recoil gets more and more. That was a lot that I experienced with the AK-74. We'll see that later. I'll explain later a little bit more. But you can fire, I think, 7 bullets or something like that in a burst, but then you gotta stop and let the gun reset, because that's, I think, what I consider the maximum burst length that is ideal for this weapon. So if we put a foregrip on there, we see that the hipfire is maybe a little bit better, and the other two patterns actually, in my opinion, look better. As far as AK-74 with for foregrip or without goes, I can't really say it. It's a hard decision. When I look at the bullet patterns, I don't really think that's gonna benefit you that much. But in my personal opinion, I like the foregrip more than without one. The next pattern that we have is the one with the heavy barrel attached, and a lot of people like the heavy barrel, and I thought, like, yeah, I mean, the AK-74M is kind of somewhat one of those guns that are supposed to be a little bit better at long range, and we see here that the heavy barrel really messes up the hip fire, but it gives a little bit tighter patterns on the longer ranges. One thing though that I discovered with the heavy barrel in the stats is actually that it increases your or better said, decreases your ADS spread when you're strafing. So this is actually quite a big thing to consider, because I think personally I strafe a lot when I'm shooting. So that's why I actually like the heavy barrel. Since the heavy barrel messes up your hipfire accuracy, I actually like to do it with a foregrip to attach a foregrip as well. And I think if we combine those two, this actually works out pretty well, because the heavy barrel increases your aiming accuracy, the foregrip decreases a little bit. So you might think, yeah, what's the point? Those two attachments seem to neutralize each other, but that's not actually the case, because as far as recoil goes, they pretty much neutralize themselves, so the gun is not getting any better or any worse, but you get a better hipfire, you get better ADS accuracy versus strafing, and you get a better damage model over distance. One more thing I gotta add is that if you're playing with a heavy barrel, you really gotta limit yourself to shorter bursts, which means for me 3 to 4 bullets, while without a heavy barrel you can go to a 7 bullet burst. Let's move on to the rest of the attachments. The next thing we got is the silencer, and I'm not gonna say too much about it. If I would use it, I would use it with foregrip, as you're gonna see here. I don't think that the silencers are a good option on this gun. There are better guns for using with silencer. Still, a silencer is always a lot of fun, because not a lot of players are used to people playing with silencers, so they rely on the minimap, and you can surprise a lot of people with it. The next thing we got is a laser pointer, and I think if you're playing with a laser pointer, that's not a bad choice. I actually like foregrip and laser pointer. They give pretty good recoil patterns, as you can see here, and that's not a bad option either if you know that you're gonna be running into a lot of close quarter situations, but you still want to have that AK with the AK-74m, with that relatively easy recoil to control. That might be as well an option for you. The last thing we got is the flash suppressor, and as always, I gotta say, I don't like that thing. As you see here, the ADS pattern is pretty alright, but the other two are just, those are worse than anything that we've seen so far. And the last thing with a foregrip attached, it's not getting really better, so stay away from the flash suppressor. Other than that, I think you can put pretty much everything on a gun that for me works best: foregrip heavy barrel, and foregrip and laser. But I don't really use it that often because I feel like I have better guns at my disposal to use at those close range engagements. So to sum it up, I first thought that a foregrip would be bad for the AK-74m, but I don't really think that now. I think if you like playing with the foregrip on this gun, go for it. It's not hurting it. Everything else, as I said, my personal number one on this gun would be the heavy barrel foregrip combo. So yeah. If you liked what you saw, please leave a thumbs up and a comment. And if you want to see more attachment guides, please subscribe. So this is it. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.